Hi fans, welcome back. Uh, I want to make a quick progress report on this CoCo Ultimate. I've whittled it down to 100 lines, 102 lines, which isn't much compared to some of my other programs. And I want to show you a couple of things that I've changed. Now, like I said, the fighter has a sword now, not the axe. I wanted to get rid of it, it was too big. So he has a sword, and this guy has a wand. And also, if you notice, I've set them so that they're one behind the other. So the fighter is in front. And I'm going to go through a piece of this code for people that might not understand what's going on. But first, I need to eliminate. I hate this list feature, guys. I don't care what anybody says. This is terrible. I need to find, and I just had it, 39. I need to get rid of. I need to rem. Excuse me. I need to rem out 51. No, I need to rem out 53. Just for now. So when I run this, we're not getting the spell in the wand here. Now, if you notice carefully, it's just white. So what I need to do, and I don't know what happened to the snake down there. There's a the spell is down there now. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but that's strange. I don't know what that's doing down there. Just ignore that. I don't know what happened. It went from here to here. I don't know why. It wasn't supposed to be on the screen at all. But anyways, as you can see, they're walking one behind the other now. And this is the way I want it here. Because we can't explore the screen if we're controlling two different characters. It's just way too hard. So we're still controlling two characters, but we're controlling them with one joystick, but we're controlling them in a different way here. And I can't go backwards. I only have forward programmed in, and this was driving me crazy. I haven't made a video in a while because I started changing this, and it turned into a jumbled mess. And then I tried reprogramming it, restructuring it. It just got worse. So I had to eliminate everything, start over yesterday, and I ran into this problem. I think it's line 67. Nope. I'm just guessing here. 64. All right. Let's list 64. And what was happening was I had way too much on one program line. Okay. You can't have more than 8 lines of code in one program line. So I needed more. I needed like 8.5 to 9. It wasn't fitting. It wasn't happening. So I had to figure out a way to mitigate that. Not mitigate. Yeah, mitigate to, get rid of the jumble here and break everything down. You want to make these lines as short as possible. I mean, you can make them long, but you don't want them so long that you can't understand it or that it doesn't fit. So I put it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. It was I had 2 other lines and I still needed more. It wasn't all fitting. Problem was I was overdoing it. So we're going to go back to line 64 in a minute. But I want to show you that when I hit the button, if I hit the controller to the right once, it moves both characters. So if I hit it once, they both take a step. So the magician, or the wizard, it's supposed to be not magician, is following the fighter. So if the fighter moves down, the magician is going to be up top, up here. And if this guy, if the fighter walks this way, the magician's going to be behind him this way. So I have to go through and figure out how to do this. It's not that easy, okay? But it works, and we're going to be able to walk around the screen. And then what's going to happen is, I think we're going to have enemy icons on the screen, and you'll have to touch one of these icons, or they could touch you. And then what's going to happen is the characters are going to line up here like they were before, and they're going to blink like they were before. But that's in fight mode, and we're going to have our turn taking that way. And once the however many enemies are eliminated, once they're eliminated, then we're going to go back to this walking around thing where one's following the other, so we can explore the screen. And that's basically how the Ultimate games used to work. But they had separate windows, and I can't do that. We don't have enough memory. So everything's going to be on this screen, but as soon as if they touch the icon, they're going to automatically be sent back to the line here, where they're parallel right now, but then they're going to be, you know, I don't know what it is. They're going to be parallel a different way, the other way, so they can take turns fighting these enemies. And then it's going to go back to this exploratory thing. So how am I doing this? How are these characters controlled? We're going to look only at line 64 because I only have right movement in. We're going to make left, down, and up. And before this, I had literally a dozen lines to do the same thing I'm doing in one line right now. So I had about a dozen lines, and it was just getting bigger and bigger, and nothing was getting accomplished. Then I had too many characters. I couldn't fit them all in. So I'm boiling this down, and if it works correctly, 4 lines will replace a dozen lines or more. And this is basically, code engineering right at this level. So, but for those of you who understand this, what's going on here is that when I hit the joystick to the right, okay, J will equal 63, and it's in a constant loop. You have to have, like, I think it goes to line 60. Okay, it's in a constant loop, and it's looking at lines 61 and 62, and this is where the joystick is defined. 0 is left-right support, 1 is up-down support, and it's in a constant loop. It's the same thing as Inkies. It has to be a constant loop. It constantly, at the speed of light, it keeps checking for changes. So my whole game is based in a joystick loop and go substatements, aside from the aesthetics and everything that comes first. So when I run this, I do the spray workshop, is what I call it, first. And then we have the aesthetics applied, and then we get into the joystick loop. So after this, everything is in that loop. So if we look at line 64 real quick, I don't have a lot of time right now. I hit the joystick to the right, S equals 4. So what happens is I go sub to 66, which defines BM $, which if you draw something on the screen, BM always comes first, and that sets the coordinate for the start point. But I turned it into a string, and so that I can move things around on the screen at will. Otherwise, you would be constantly drawing things over again. And so when S is, if we look at lines, it's actually line 67. This is it right here. This is the whole key to this process. It goes sub 66, which is the point. It goes sub just to 66. It just says it's just a rem statement, and then there's a return statement after this, but goes to this line here. So when S equals 4, X and Y are already defined at another point before the game starts as coordinates for setting the characters on the screen. And so they already have values, and when we say S equals 4, it fills this in. So we have BM, which is our starting point, and then we use S tier $sign to turn these numbers into part of a string. Normally strings are just characters and not numbers. But anyway, so if you see here, so x4, just substitute the 4. This is a function basically. So you substitute the s for 4. So now Jesus, this is hard to explain. But this our x4 already has a value of where the character starts. So it looks for x4 and y4, and it adjusts. It doesn't do any adjusting yet, but then once it has that location, it returns and it draws the fighter string 2, which is the blank, over the current position of the fighter. And then S still equals 4, so here we have x4 equals x4 plus 10, and this is what gives him his movement. But we have to go sub back down here every single time. This whole game, the key to this whole thing is this BM $sign definition that we have to keep redefining. So once we say that now we want it to equal plus 10, we have to go sub back down here, it recalculates, and then it draws the fighter $sign, which is the one in color, in the new position, and then S1 is the wizard. So it goes through the same process. It goes subs to 66. Once S equals 1, it calculates that, and it takes the current position and erases it. I don't know why I put magician. It's supposed to be wizard, and I can't change it now. I'm trying to, I should save space. It would save a little bit of space too, but it's just hardwired in now. I don't have time to change it. It should say wizard. Then it erases that. So now we have 2 blanks. And actually the fighter moved, and now the wizard has to move, but this is the part that I had to foreshorten. This was taking up 3 or 4 lines the way I was doing it before. But I engineered it down, and so now when we want to reapply the magician or the wizard in his new position, all we have to do is say, we do have to say S equals 1, but then we say XS equals X4 minus 16, and YS equals Y4 plus 12. So, and then we go sub and it recalculates, and then it draws the magician in the new position. And so what's actually happening here is that instead of going through plus 10 and all this stuff, this is our master up here, and this is like the slave down here, if you want to say that. And in computer terms, you know, this is the master, and then you come down here, and what it does is it uses this current information, so we don't have to put plus 10 plus all this other baloney. We just take here, let's run this real quick, and then I'm going to end this because I don't have a lot of time right now, but I can take questions on the side. So the starting point for the drawing is right here, very at the top of the tip of the sword. And then I draw the character however it's drawn, and then it ends wherever it ends. But the start point is what you need. So what I'm literally, his start point is here though, at the corner of his head, and then it goes down. So the master, variable is what I add or subtract from. So x is minus however many it was because he's to the left, and then y is plus so many, and it leads to this point right here. So it's from this, if you think of a Cartesian plane, if you think of not a translation, but a, is it a translation? You know, if you have a Cartesian plane and you go over 2 and up 3, I think that's a translation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so we're going negative, you know, to the left, and then, you know, a true Cartesian plane would be negative, negative, but on here we're all positive. But I'm still going negative this way, and then down is, this is positive, positive is all we have to work with. We have just the first quarter of the Cartesian plane, I think here, something. So this is 0, 0, and we go plus all the way, and plus all the way. So literally, that doesn't even exist on the Cartesian plane, because up and right is the first quarter, and it doesn't match anything. That's why I did that video on the geometric graphing tool. It's a lot to understand, but we're going minus so many this way since this is positive, and we're going positive so many this way since this is positive. And you go from this point to this point, and that is the Curtis said it before, but I don't know what the heck it's called, the floating point or something. It's the point of origin where you start your drawing. So for this guy, it's the tip of the sword, and for this guy, it's the corner of his head. So that's all I need to know. I just need to know these measurements, and then I can apply it for up, down, left, right, and I'll be good to go. And the only other thing I have to change now is, if you notice, he doesn't have a spell power on here anymore. That is also something that was built in that I have to change. I have to go back and not redraw the wizard, and I just trace it out. When I get to this point, I have to put the spell power on his wand, because before I had it as a separate sprite, which doesn't make any sense because it's too hard to keep track of this guy and his spell, but there's not enough room in the line to, there's only enough room to erase this guy, paste this guy, that's it. There's not enough room to do another job. So this is going to have to be part of the wand. But then when it turns into fight mode, I need to know this location so he can shoot projectiles. So this is a work in progress, and I don't think the orange looks bad at all on the magenta. Maybe it's because you guys are viewing the video, I don't know, but this looks fine. I can read it just fine. The other color set is horrible. Have you ever seen yellow on any of those other colors? There's huge gaps in between. It's awful. So this is the better choice. I've been working with the P mode one for a long time, so trust me, this is the better choice. I'm gonna end the video right here, and I'm taking comments. I have time to answer them. If I have time, I'll try to get to everybody, but I can't always. But if it's something that's really pertinent, I usually get to it right away. So I will see you, as soon as I make more progress with this. And thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.